Hi everyone. My name is Aaron, and welcome to today's session with AKPK and myself. For those of you who are fasting today, um, wish you a very happy Ramadan. Wish you many blessings. I'm really excited to be back. This is my second time. Um, if you have any questions, if you want to say hi, you want to say hi to your friends, please comment in the comment box below. Please comment in the comment box. I'll try to get to as many questions as possible. And yeah, we're going to have lots of fun. So let me just share back my presentation and then we will begin. Cool. So today's topic is the ultimate guide to avoiding scams by myself, Mr. Stingy. Just hang on for a while. Something appears to be a bit off. Okay, let me just fix that for a while. Give me a second here, guys. All right, so today's session is the ultimate guide to avoiding scams by myself. It is organized in accordance with AKPK. So AKPK is the National Debt Management Agency. For those of you who've not heard of AKPK before, some of AKPK's services are, if you look on the left here, financial education. So AKPK provides financial education on things like your credit cards, basic money management, as well as tips on how to use credit. AKPK also provides financial counseling. So for those of you who are maybe struggling with your finances and you need some help, somebody to speak to, you can also approach AKPK for their financial counseling. And then I think AKPK is most well known for their debt management program. So AKPK's counselors can work with you if you're struggling with your loans or your credit or all your difficult debts that you're having. And they can come up with specialized programs for you. So DMP, debt management services, are offered free for individuals. So please make use of this. AKPK is a government agency, and I'm really excited to be partnering with them to do today's session. They're doing a lot of great work. So please check them out if you haven't before. Now, AKPK is also part of what we call the Financial Education Network. The Financial Education Network is sort of an initiative done by the Prime Minister himself. That was last year, and there is a national strategy for financial literacy, 2019 to 2023. Members of the Financial Education Network, I'm sure many of you have actually heard of them before. So first of all, there's Bank Negara Malaysia. Bank Negara is, of course, our central bank that handles all monetary things related in Malaysia. There's the SC, the Securities Commission, which handles anything related to investment or fundraising. So anything like stocks, bonds, or even robo-advisors, anything investing comes from the Securities Commission. Other partners involved in the Financial Education Network are Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia, the Education Ministry, KWSP, the EPF, which of course manages our retirement funds, PIDM, which is the body that manages our deposits. In case anything happens to the banks, they protect us. And of course, PNB, who manages the Amanah Saham, amongst other things, most famously known for perhaps ASB, Amanah Saham Wawasan, and so on. So if you've not heard of Financial Education Network, please check it out online. This is the website on their page. There's a lot of educational articles. Feel free to check it out. If you find something that you like, let them know. If you find something missing, let them know as well. I think the government is working very hard to make sure that Malaysians' financial education is constantly being upgraded. So that's about the Financial Education Network. Now, a little bit about myself. I run a blog. The blog's name is Mr-Stingy. I'll show you what my blog looks like in a bit. But I just want to stress that there's a difference between advice you hear from people online, teachers, and there's something that's a very technical term called financial advice. Now, financial advice is typically only done by people who have licenses from the Securities Commission. So these are your financial planners. These are people who literally are professionals at managing money. Now, my sharing today is based on personal experience, what I've studied, what I've learned. It's not financial advice in the sense that I'm not going to tell you when to buy stocks or how much to buy. So take it as that, yeah. And this is my personal opinion. So it's not AKPK's opinion. If you have any issue with what I'm saying, let me know in the comments, but please don't take anything that I say as representing AKPK. We are partners today, but I represent my own opinion. For those of you who tuned in 2 weeks ago, you know that I mixed in a lot of Bahasa 2 weeks ago. So this time I'm going to run it more in English. I'll mix in a bit of Bahasa because I found that most of the comments were in English anyway, and it's a little bit easier for me to share in English. So I'm going to spend most of today in English. So really excited to share. But yeah, I can mix it up with Bahasa from time to time as well. Now with that out of the way, I just want to share with you, this is what my blog looks like. The blog article that I show here is what happens after the coronavirus crash. This is a blog article that I actually presented in the last session with AKPK. So if you're curious to know about this topic, you can check out my blog, or you can even look at my Facebook Live, the previous session that I did with AKPK, where I covered what happens to the economy, are we going in for a recession? What should we do with our money? So check it out on mr-stingy.com. And now I'm going to go into today's topic, which is all about scams. There's going to be 5 parts. This is part number 1. So there's part 1, which is why people fall for scams. Part 2 is some common examples of scams. Number 3 is telltale signs of a scam. How do you know it's a scam? Part 4 is a little bit more about investment. How do you know something is legitimate? And part number 5 is how we can protect ourselves online. So each of the sessions will take, I think, roughly 8 to 10 minutes each. After each part, I'm going to go back to Facebook Live and look at your comments, look at your queries. Again, please type in any comments, questions you have into the Facebook comment box. I will address them like every 10 minutes or so. So part number 1, why people fall for scams. It turns out that it's all about emotions. If you think about it, even a lot of really smart people fall for scams. I'm not just talking about, say, your relative who's 60 or 65 years old. She may not be the most clever at online things. That is typically what we think about when we talk about scam victims. But usually, we actually find that scam victims can even come from lawyers, doctors, engineers, teachers. These are supposed to be really smart people, but they still fall for scams. So actually, the reason why people fall for scams is it's not an analytical or it's not a thinking process. It's actually all about your emotions. Scammers know how to take advantage of your emotions, and they will do all they can to put you in the emotional state so that they can scam you. So I'm going to give you some common examples of, say, the type of feeling that scammers would do to prey on you. So you might think that the most common one is greed, right? Or if you want to translate it in Malay, it's tamak, right? People are tamak, people are greedy. That's why they will get involved in investment scams. So you've heard of those scheme cepat kaya or get rich quick kind of scams where they promise a lot of money and people sort of follow because they want to earn a lot of money. So you could say the topmost or most popular kind of emotion that scammers are actually target. Number first one is maybe greed. Okay, but that's not the only emotion that they target. There are a lot of other emotions that scammers will target, and here are some of the others. So impatience. Those of you who invest money, you know that investing is supposed to be a long-term, you'll get rich slowly kind of thing. But scammers will always target your impatience. You know, you cannot wait to get rich. You cannot wait for 10 years for your investment to grow properly. They target your feeling to get rich now. I would say that in modern days, it becomes more and more common for impatience to become a weakness because we are so used to getting things really fast. Nowadays, if you want a video, you go to YouTube, you can get it like within seconds. If you want food delivered, you can go to Grab and get food delivered really quickly. So we've become very impatient as people, and scammers are targeting that to scam you. Now, the third common feeling that scammers will exploit is fear or ketakutan or worry. This is very commonly seen in the police case scams. I will share actually quite detailed into what a police case scam looks like later because somebody tried it on me. But we know that in a lot of scam cases, people are actually scared. People are actually worried. And that makes them do irrational things, makes them do really, really things that you would never imagine them to do. So scammers are very good at targeting fear as well. And this has been going on since, I don't know, probably centuries or thousands of years. Now, the fourth thing scammers can prey on is loneliness, kesunyian. You know, everyone wishes they had love. Everyone wishes they had a partner. But what happens if you yourself are alone and everyone else has their own partner? Sometimes we get a little bit lonely. And scammers are actually very good at targeting people in that state. So, you know, it's very cruel actually if you think about it. People who they want friendship, they want companionship, they want maybe a little bit of romance, and then the scammers target them and sort of exploit them. So we'll talk a little bit about Nigerian prince scams, very famous. Later on, I've got a more detailed example. And lastly, desperation. So why I bring this up is because if you've been to my talk 2 weeks ago, or if you've been reading some of the articles that I've been sharing, is that the economy is not doing well. Let's be very clear about that. The economy is not doing well. I think that more and more people are starting to get desperate. I really wish it wasn't this case, but no, people are struggling with money, people are struggling with food. When you get into a desperate situation, it becomes a little, I guess you can say it becomes much easier for scammers to target you because you want to believe. You want to believe in something that can help set you free or can help bring you freedom or financial freedom or solve all your problems. So a lot of people are desperate right now in this difficult economic times, and scammers are basically targeting these feelings. So of course, scammers target other feelings, but these are some of the common aspects. So let's take a look at now our current situation. We've spoken about what scammers like to target, but what is everyone almost around you feeling right now? We've got MCO, we can't go to work, we can't see our friends and family. Here are some perhaps suggestions or thoughts around what everyone's feeling right now. Number one, I can't see my loved ones. A lot of people are lonely. I'm fortunate enough to have been with my wife when the MCO struck. So I've been with her 24/7 for the past 5 weeks, which is pretty interesting in itself. But I haven't been able to see any of my other family members. So I haven't seen my parents, I haven't seen my cousins or my sister or my siblings. And I think most of us will admit that it does start to get difficult. It does start to get hard. I think a lot of people are worried about what if the virus infects me? You know, the number of cases continues to go down. The number of people the number of people who've recovered continues to go up. But I think there's still a lot of worry around what if the virus infects me, and that has led to a sort of feeling of worry or dread, or kind of like we're in this state where we're not very optimistic anymore. So that's kind of the situation I'm seeing right now. This is very real and very practical for a lot of people. A lot of people have already had their income reduced, taken pay cuts, or unable to go to work so their company cannot pay them. Or if your income has not been affected, it might be at risk of being affected. So you probably read the news, you know that a lot of companies are cutting costs. A lot of companies are not hiring. A lot of companies, unfortunately, are starting to lay people off. So people are getting a bit sad and depressed around income, because how will they take care of their families? And I think perhaps lastly, everyone's a bit fearful of what happens next. We don't know what will happen. We don't know how long recovery will take. Could take 1 year, 2 years. What's going to happen to all of us? So we're kind of in a pretty difficult situation right now. I would think that scammers are like saying, okay, this is my time now. Everyone's in a bit of a difficult situation. So I think everyone should be very wary. And in the second section, or in part 2, we'll talk about a little bit more details on how scammers actually work. Okay, so I think I'll close off this first part with sharing you my first time getting scammed. Thankfully, I didn't really lose anything, but I'll share you how this actually happened. So I was age 32 before I was scammed. Thank God. Of course, before I had it myself, I thought it'll never happen to me, right? You know, I'm supposedly quite good with technology. You know, no one's going to ever be able to lie to me, and no one's going to ever be able to scam me. So I was at the stage of ignorance and arrogance, which is never good. And it started with a phone call. So I was at work. I was busy at work. And then some random number called me. So I picked it up. Obviously, you know, during work hours, you're a bit impatient. You don't want to just pick up in front of your boss, or, you know, you want to get over the call as soon as possible, right? So I picked it up and like, hello. And they started with correct info, yeah? Correct info. So the guy on the other end is like, am I speaking to Aaron? Blah, 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 my surname, my last name, everything's correct. So they start with that. And then, of course, like, yes. You know, if you've got my first name, you've kind of got me at least 50%, right? Because you know me. So I think you're legitimate. And then the guy said, I'm calling from a bank. So I start to worry, oh, why is the bank calling me? A little bit worried, right? At this point of time. And then he said, it's something to do with my credit card. You know, you made this transaction at so-called what date, so and so. I just want to ask you about this. So I was pretty taken aback. I was a bit shocked. I said, I don't think I made that transaction, you know. It's probably not right. Then the guy goes, yeah, but you're Aaron, right? And what's your IC number so I can check? So at that point of time, I was actually very cooperative, because maybe a bit too arrogant and a bit naive. So I gave him my IC number. I said, it's 84, blah, 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 XXYZ. I gave him the full IC number without thinking. Okay, I gave the full IC number. After I gave the IC number, I was actually thinking, why did I just give my IC number? And then I asked the guy, why do you need my IC number for? And I think, thankfully, during that first time of mine, that so-called scammer wasn't a very experienced guy. I think maybe his first week on the job, he hadn't really gotten used to the training. You know, he's kind of a new guy. So when I asked him that, he's like, he actually stopped and paused, and he like don't know what to say to answer me. So at that point in time, I realized, maybe this is not legitimate, and I've just given my IC number out. And so I ended the call. So that was the first time. It ended with me giving my IC number out, and probably because the scammer was not experienced. Maybe if he was like a super good one, he would have gotten so many things: bank account number, maybe other bank account numbers, phone number of my mother or something. But he wasn't that good, so I was lucky, blessed. Yeah, so it can happen to anyone. Even if you are arrogant, even if you think it will never happen to you, it could happen to you. So that was my first time, and I'm going to share to you other experiences which has happened in my life as well, but that will probably be in part 2 and part 3. So with that, I am going to finish up part 1. I'm going to go back to Facebook and have a look at the comments and see what you guys are saying. All right, so I'm back on Facebook, and I am looking at the comments. So yeah, let me take a look at some of the comments. Chong says they always take advantage of our emotions, which is true. I see a lot of setujus. Thank you for agreeing with me. Nor Haza says the best way to hang up if it sounds suspicious. Yes, absolutely. There's no point of you continuing the conversation. Just hang it up if it sounds suspicious. Tim asked me a question. Impatience is not the same as greed. I think they're slightly different. Yeah, greed is you are tamak, you want a lot. Impatience is you gopoh, or yeah, I think it's kind of gopoh. You cannot wait. So it's slightly different things, but usually they come together lah. Okay. Okay. Someone said Azira said love scam is very dangerous with emoji. I don't know if you have been part of it before because you seem very happy. Nivlek says charming Mat Saleh from ONG coming to visit you. Yeah, so obvious, right? But imagine if you already jatuh cinta with that charming Mat Saleh. May not be so easy to what do you call that? Avoid this scam, right? Okay, so let's see. Let's look at a few more comments. Yeah, a lot of heart shapes. Thank you. Farid said impatient is tak sabar. Thank you for correcting my bahasa. I shall improve, definitely. All right. Thanks, guys, for all the comments. Keep them coming. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I will try to address them as soon as possible. So I am actually going to continue sharing my screen, and we will move into part 2 of the presentation. So part number 2 is a section called 3 examples of scams. In this section, I'm just going to go slightly more detailed into some scams that actually I've personally experienced myself. And then one of this is something that I've read online. I thought is very important that I need to share. So let's jump straight into it. So if you're seeing my screen right now, you can see that I have received a great opportunity from ExxonMobil. For those of you who are not very familiar, ExxonMobil is one of the largest, one of the best oil companies in the world, been around for like hundreds of years. And if you realize that actually the email even spell opportunity wrongly. Okay, we'll get into that. But take a look at this email. So Gmail is actually very smart. They actually give me a warning. This message seems dangerous. Many years ago, if you use Yahoo Mail, Hotmail, you never get warnings from the email provider. Excuse me. So let's take a look at this email. Very interesting. It says, "Dear Sir, Madam, I am Mr. Andrew P. Swigger, representing Operation Corporate Affairs in ExxonMobil in London." Wow. I'm very lucky. I've gotten huge opportunity now. ExxonMobil is one of the largest producing company, 1.2 trillion capital. Okay, big numbers. Switch over to the right side of the screen and you can see, I need your full cooperation and partnership to contract funds amounting to 12.5 million US dollars. So basically he's saying, I don't know why, but he has $12.5 million and he needs my help. Aaron living in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, so far away from London, he needs my help to get the money. Wonder why? But anyway, if I want to get the money, I need to give all my full information to him. I just need to email him back. So you and I are maybe laughing a bit at this. We know it's most likely unbelievable, but you will also believe that actually a lot of people get scammed by this kind of messages. So let's look into a bit detail how this scam works. So this is called the "you won something" email. It could be anything. The email comes from a semi-legit email address. Usually it will not come from andrew@exxon.com. It may come from andrew@exxongas.com. So it's something that it's not 100% correct, but maybe if you don't read it properly, you think that it comes from a correct. So if you see Mr. Andrew P. Swigger, is most likely, sounds like a British name. So he's probably rich and powerful, right? So that kind of trying to scam our trust. The second thing about this kind of scam is you win something, right? It could be a job. If you look at this particular scam here, I have won, it comes from ExxonMobil. Okay, so here I've won, I guess you can call it a lottery or some contract money. But there are scams where they tell you that, oh, you have successfully applied at a job and you've gotten the job. Okay, so you've won something. It could be a lottery. So those of you who like gambling, don't gamble, Ramadan month. But I mean, if you like gambling, then somehow, maybe you get an email and they say, oh, you won the 20 million lottery. Always a huge number, right? And then it can be inheritance. It could be, my surname is Tang, so one day I might get an email from, say, Mrs. Tang somewhere from China, and they say that, oh, actually, Aaron, you are the long-lost descendant, or you are the long-lost grandchild of our great royal family, and now I want to give you $20 or $30 million. So it could be that as well, inheritance. Or it could be just a prize that, oh, they may use other people's name, yeah, by the way. They may use Maybank's name, they may use CIMB's name, they may say that, hi, I am Sarah from CIMB and you have won our cashback prize, okay? So you've won something. So they will test you. It's not so easy to actually fall into this scam. Huh? They will ask you to give your personal details. So this is almost their modus operandi, or this is their way to kind of figure out who is the vulnerable one that is going to kena scam. Yeah? Who is the one that is desperate for money that will kena the scam. So they will ask you to reply with your personal details. And it's not like very easy one. It's actually quite difficult. They will ask you to give your name, your IC, your address, your phone number. So what they're really doing is they are trying to see who is really actually desperate for the money, who they can scam the most, because the more desperate you are, the more vulnerable you are. But then, just as you give your money, or just as you give your details, right, they say, "Aya, there's a complication." The guy will call you or he will email you. He said that, "Actually, I wanted to pay the money to you, but there's always a problem. Problem could be with the bank. You know, the bank doesn't want to release the money. You know, so difficult to release the money. But you can help me. You can help me if you pay the administration fee. So I'm going to give you 20 million, 20 with 6 zeros. But to get that 20 million, I need you to pay me the administration fee. The administration fee is very cheap. It's only $500 US. Want to pay or not? $20 million you can get, pay $500. Now, if you are in the scam at this point, you're thinking, yeah, why don't I just pay that $500? You know, I stand to win 20 million. And if you do that, basically they take your money and they disappear and you never hear back from them again, unless they try and scam you again, which happens really often. Once you already lost your money, you want to try get it back. You are willing to pay 2, 3, 4 times the administration fee until you realize that it's a scam, and then you go to the police, and then maybe if you know some politicians, and then you show up on TV in the newspapers saying that I've been scammed and this is what happened. So something interesting to realize, a lot of times these scams are from overseas. So they will ask you to pay using Western Union or PayPal, okay? They won't usually ask you to pay using Maybank or CIMB. So look out for that. If for some reason they always ask you to pay using Western Union. So that's case study number 1. I'm going to go straight into case study number 2. Again, if you have comments, questions, put it in the box below. I will deal with it as soon as possible. So case number 2 is you have a police case, phone scam. Somebody tried it on me about, I think, 2 years back, 2 or 3 years back as well. So the call is from a legitimate number. They call you, if you go and reverse search the number 037780 something something, it really comes from Balai Police Cawangan Petaling Jaya. Okay, scammers can actually spoof numbers. They can actually redirect their phone number to make it seem like it's really from Balai Police. Pick it up, and the person will say, am I speaking to Aaron so and so and so? This is your IC number, correct? Now they give me the real IC number, yeah. Maybe the scammer from many years ago actually worked with this scammer and they give the IC number, they sold the IC number to him. So he knows my name and IC number. I say, yes, that's me. And he says, oh, there's an accident that happened in Johor Bahru, far away from KL, right? Somebody has rented a car using your name and IC. And now there's an accident, somebody is dead. Ada orang sudah mati disebabkan guna nama dan my card you. Okay, so sounds really scary. Now you're thinking, oh, I'm in deep trouble because someone used my IC number and my name, and then somebody's dead now. So how, police officer Tuan, what do I need to do? Police officer will say, come to the police station today. You must come today. You must appear in Balai Police Johor Bahru today, and we will settle. You know, put a bit of authority to make it sound legitimate. But you say, oh, I'm in KL. How am I going to go to Johor Bahru today? So police, so-called police, actually very helpful. You know, they are actually serving the country. So they say, if you cannot come, I have option for you. And the option is, I will transfer your call to Bukit Aman. I will transfer your call to headquarters in Bukit Aman, and then they will speak to you about this. Okay. Now, if you take the call to Bukit Aman, you will get to speak to another police officer, and that police officer will say, okay, this is a very difficult situation. This is very serious. to clear your name, you must pay summons. Okay, pay summons via bank transfer. They will give you a bank account name that you need to make the payment. Otherwise, police are going to get you. Okay, so when I got this scam, I figured out that it was a scam somewhere around step number 5. I didn't go to Johor Bahru. I didn't call Bukit Aman, obviously. I merely said to the scammer, oh, I need to come to JB today. Okay, I will go to JB today. Let me know what's your name. So at that point of time, the person actually got quite angry. They will try to pressure you and make you scared. The person said, no, why are you asking me for my name, blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, it's all fake. Don't be scared. I put it down. Case study number 2. And the third case study that I want to go through very quickly, you've heard of love scam before. You kind of know how it works. I want to share some modern twists to the love scam. Normally, boy meets girl or girl meets boy. They meet online. Nowadays, it happens more on social media. Those days, maybe it happens, I don't know, through email or classifieds. Now it happens through perhaps Facebook or Instagram or one of those dating apps, yeah? So you meet online, and then the person always sends you like really sweet words, right? Can really melt your heart. But strangely, they will never meet you in person. They will never want to, you know, sometimes they will even be willing to do a video call with you, but they will never meet you in person, right? They will don't want to meet you in person. Red flag number 1. Maybe the person is overseas, right? Rich person from, say, UK or Australia, first world country, or, you know, very famous. Maybe he's a Nigerian prince, yeah? It got so common that people actually named the scam the Nigerian prince scam. So now the person, your lover, actually wants to send a gift to you. I want to send a gift to you, but there's a problem because last time it was the police problem. Now it's the customs problem. Customs, the Raja apparently seized the gift, you know. He sent you a necklace worth maybe 20 million. But the customs have tahan the thing at the port. So it's a problem now, right? How do you solve it? The guy, your lover, will say, oh, you can solve it, but you need to pay the processing fee. I have a friend. I will put you in touch with the friend. You just pay the processing fee and you will get it. Excuse me. Now, you think that if people kena one time, they would be smart, but sometimes this happens multiple times. You pay one time, the customs thing never gets released. Another problem, you need to pay more money. The scammers will milk you as many times as possible until you realize that they're actually scamming you. Now, you may think that love scams only happens to lonely housewives, auntie, you know, those that are vulnerable. Guys, men get love blackmailed too. The modus operandi is slightly different. Usually for men, it is blackmail. So you meet a really hot girl and then she asks you to like take off your clothes online, and then they take pictures of you, and then they blackmail you. If you don't want people to see what you do, you need to pay me money. So guys, girls, everyone is kind of vulnerable. So I'm going to end that section number 2. I'm going to go back to Facebook and look at some of your comments now. All right. Yeah. Let me address some of the comments. Gamble is haram. Okay, that's interesting. The inheritance email scams are famous. That's so true. Desperado is more susceptible to be conned. That's true, Mr. Kin Cheong or Mrs. Kin Cheong. Let's see. Many of my friends kena, including my old mom. Luckily, she's pandai. Min Arif said. The accident scam was popular at one time. Tim is saying the accident scam was popular at one time. Actually, my wife's friend actually just kena like 2 days ago. So it's still being run, the accident scam. Okay, even those yang kahwin still shocked trusting with the sweet talkers. Okay, yang dah kahwin, janganlah layan sweet talker, okay? Layan your husband or your wife, okay? Perempuan selalu kena. Farid said, you know, guys also kena. Guys kena blackmail. Okay. All right. So cool. So don't be kena tipu by all these scammers. Yeah. Be berhati-hati. And now I am going to go into part number 3 of my presentation. Let's go back to part number 3. So part number 3 might actually be one of the most, I guess, potentially the most important part of today's session. Part number 3 is actually telltale signs of scams, or if you see this in a scam, you can be quite confident that these people want to tipu your money. Okay, telltale signs of a scam. So the first sign of how scammers work, or the principle of how scammers work, is they always appeal to your emotions. Now, I would actually put this broad enough that anyone who always appeals to your emotions probably doesn't want to help you. See, if most people, they will bring you logical arguments. They will give you an idea that makes sense, okay? That makes logical sense, scientific idea. People who try and touch your emotions normally want to manipulate you to do something. So we know that all the emotions they can play with, things like fear, worry, desperation, lonely, scammers will always try and target emotions. So if you see someone come and try and target your emotions, please be very, very careful. Please be very, very wary of this kind of people. Now, the second part of how scammers work is everything is urgent. Okay, Balai Police, you need to come today, or you need to make payment today. The reason why they do this is because when they make it urgent, they force you to take action. They force you to do something which helps them. So actually the antidote, or the penyelesaian to this is that whenever someone try to make you do something urgently, unless it is something like a medical emergency, or someone is trapped in a burning building, don't do things because it is urgent, okay? Think about it. Take a deep breath and think, is this really logical? Does this really make sense? Okay? Scammers will always say, I need it today, I need it now. They will put a lot of pressure on you. Very bad, very unethical. And the third principle of how scammers work is they will always try and isolate you from your loved ones. Because scammers know if you were to go and tell your friend or your mom or your family, say that, Mom, by the way, Mom, if you're watching this, you know, hi. So scammers will know if you go to your mom and say, Mom, I need to borrow $500. And your mother will be, why? Why do you need $500? And then you say, if I pay $500 to Mr. Andrew in UK, Mr. Andrew in UK is going to pay me $20 million. So scammers know that if you go and ask 10 people about this, 10 people are going to, maybe 9 or 8 or 9 people are going to tell you, sorry, you know, this is a scam, this is not true. It doesn't make sense, bro. It doesn't make sense. But scammers, they want to avoid this from happening. So scammers will always tell you that, keep it a secret, bro. This is only between you and me. Don't let anyone else know. If anyone else knows, this deal is off, okay? They will try to make it a us against the world kind of mentality. They will say that, you know, the other people, don't trust them, trust me. If you listen to other people, they will tell you that this is wrong. So this is a very powerful isolation thing. It works in everything, by the way. Cults, religious cults will also try to isolate you from your loved ones. They will tell you that, don't listen to them, you must give up on your loved ones, come follow my better path. So it's a very, very powerful way that unfortunately people always like to abuse, to scam people. So remember, whenever someone comes to you and say that, you know, keep it a secret, don't tell anyone, don't talk to your wife, please don't listen to them. Please discuss it with your family, discuss it with your friends, and then you will be protected better. So let's say the scammers have already done all number 1, number 2, number 3. you are still kind of safe as long as you have not given up your money. So even if you have fallen, if you dah terkandas in item number 1, number 2, or number 3, you are still okay if you have not given them your money. So basically, what I'm saying is, anytime someone asks you for your money, be super, super careful. And the way that they ask money is always a non-standard way. You will know it's non-standard way because it's very different from how a normal person asks for money. Like, if you are supposed to pay a summons to the police, you're supposed to go to the police counter and get a receipt, everything is proper. But the Balai Police scam, they will tell you, oh no, you transfer the money to my personal account, say Mr. Ahmad bin Wong or something. But you're not supposed to transfer money to people's personal accounts. You're supposed to give it at the Balai Police. Okay, so that's a non-standard request for money. Another example is the request to send money via PayPal to an account, I don't know, maybe in somewhere across the world. So anytime you receive a non-standard request, please, 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 please be very careful, because that's normally how scammers work. Some of the other signs I actually put in my article. So if you see the screen, it's called How to Tell If an Investment is a Scam for Malaysians. Feel free to visit this article. It actually shares with you some of the red signs of an investment scam, red flags. I won't go too deeply into it right now because I think I want to move straight into part number 4. But here are some of the red flags that you can see in an investment scam. So feel free to check out my article for more. I'm going to skip quickly to chapter number 4 now. So why I'm bringing up legitimate investments or non-legitimate investments is because during these difficult times, a lot of people are going to try and scam you, say that invest in my business and you will earn 20,000 ringgit a month. Or invest in my business, you're going to get 50% every month. Sounds like a money game, right? So here are actually some of the statistics that are actually quite scary. The Securities Commission actually ran a survey and it said that investors perceive the annual return of 12.4% is low, 24% is medium, and 42.9% is high. Super, super scary news, because most people actually have no idea of what normal investments pay. Because if you can get 24% or 43% of investment returns, you are basically one of the greatest investors in the world of all time, okay? So actually, investment returns, these are my expected returns if I invest. Normally a fixed deposit, 3 to 4%. Bonds, 5 to 6%. Government-related schemes like EPF, Amanah Saham, ASB, usually between 6 to 10%. Economy gawat sekarang, maybe it's a little bit down, maybe it's like 4 to 5%, but that's fine. It's not high amounts, yeah. Properties, maybe 9%, and say stock market expected on a yearly basis around 10%. Now, these are my expectations. Could be different for everyone. But basically, I just want you to understand that when someone comes and promises you an investment that gives you 30, 40% every month, most likely it is a scam, okay? Most likely your investment is not going to give you 30 to 40% a month, okay? I would say with almost absolute certainty that it's not going to give you 30 to 40% a month, because if not, everyone would do that business, right? So moving quickly to part number 5, how to protect yourself online. I'm going to cover this quite quickly and then we'll take the question and answer. I've thought of 3 tips, or I guess 3 really important principles when you're online. The first thing I want to say is that you should be careful wherever you click, because this word here is called phishing. It's a different type of phishing. It means that hackers are stealing your passwords because they may create a fake site that looks like a real site. So always be very careful where you click, especially some of you, maybe you are a little bit older, you're uncertain about technology. Try not to go and click all those all those super good offer, because a lot of them are scams. But if you already click, make sure you come to the address, okay? Make sure you look at the address, right? The address should be an address that you recognize, okay? Always double check the link. It should be maybanktoyou.com.my because you know that is Maybank's address. It should not be maybanktoyoufree.nz or something like that, right? So hackers will actually create a page that looks very similar to the normal Maybank or whatever investment or whatever Tesco or whatever, but they will actually use a wrong link or wrong address, and they will use it to steal your money. So item number 2, protect your data. Make sure that you don't simply share your data everywhere. When I say that no casual data entry, don't simply put your name, your IC number, your email address in every single website or every single competition that you see. Because all attackers need is your phone number and email address to hijack or to attack you. I'll give you a simple example. Even SMS can be hijacked. Excuse me. A couple of months ago, I received an email saying that someone had gone into my email using a code that they sent to my phone number. But that phone number, that SMS, that supposedly the code, I never actually received it. So somehow people figured out a way to hijack the SMS, and they actually use it to go into my email. So you might say that, oh, okay lah, my email kena hack, nothing wrong. But when an attacker goes into your email, they can do lots and lots and lots of damage. From the email, they can look at your bank, they can look at your mother's name, they can look at your entire history, and they can use that information to do other attacks. So even your SMS is not as safe or secure as you think it is. Please be very careful and don't simply share your information. I think the last point I want to bring here is please protect your email and passwords. These are best suggestions. Use multiple emails. So I know we use the same email, the same Yahoo email from 20 years ago. Because we are lazy, we want to use just one email, but try to use a special email for your sensitive things, okay? That email is only for your online banking, your investment, or your Amanah Saham, your ASB. Use that email only for that. Every other email for Lazada, Shopee, use a different email, okay? Don't mix the emails. Don't ever reuse your passwords. Don't use the same password for your email, for other email, for every other Maybank, for CIMB. Because if you were to reuse your password and someone managed to break your password once, they can get into everything else and then GG, hancho everything. Lastly, there's something called two-factor authentication. It is an app. I won't go into detail, but I suggest that try and 2FA everything that you use in your life, including your email, including your Facebook, including your LinkedIn. Please check out what 2FA means, because it's a better layer of security. It makes it so much harder for people to attack you. So, final point I want to leave with everyone. If you ever worried, the best thing that can help you is to take a deep breath, think, and never rush. Most people will get scammed because they're scared, they're worried, the hackers play on their emotions, and then that's when they can. So if you ever worried, take a deep breath, think. Why don't you call a friend, call your mother, call your parents, call your IT savvy friend, and then they will most likely be able to discuss with you and tell you that this is a scam. So never rush, because when you rush, that's when you get vulnerable. So with that, I will end my presentation. I will end my webinar, but I'm going to take questions now. So if you haven't given me your questions, please comment below. I will look at them right now. right. Okay. Tons of comments. Let me try to get to all of them, yeah. Okay, so let's see. Processing fee, popular, Ashraf is asking, are processing fee popular key points to scams? Yes, so a lot of people will ask for a processing fee. That's when you make a payment. So be careful of that scam. Louisa says, I recently received a call from Post Laju asking me to collect a parcel. So yes, there's Post Laju scam as well. Luckily, I know this is not how Post Laju operates. Okay, Pok Yo says he received a call from SPRM. Wow, that must be scary. Maybe from Latifah herself. So be very careful. Don't simply believe. So here's a tip, right? If you get a call, there's nothing wrong for you to say, okay, I will call you back. Put down the phone and literally call the right organization. Okay. Okay, let's look at a couple more comments. Nantin says, dear AKPK, don't forget to submit the feedback form after the session. Okay, please do it, yeah. A couple of more comments. Okay. Investment with outrageous return, most probably it's a scam. 100% agreed, yeah. Okay. Tim is saying, so many people die percaya MLM expected returns of more than 30%. Please don't percaya. It's super hard to make money. 30% returns a month is crazy. Okay, or 30% per year also is crazy. Okay, let's see a couple more comments. So Alfred the Cruz asked me, what about Forex investment? Now, I don't know too much about Forex investment myself, but just please be very careful because most people I know cannot even make money using Forex. So I would suggest that if you want to do a business, Forex is actually a super high risk. If you want to get involved, please be super careful. It's not an easy way to make money. And I think there's a lot of scammers out there. Okay. Okay. Nava asked me if we use online banking via smartphones and we had cleared the cash of the transaction over, are the scammers able to trace back our previous banking transaction details? I believe not. So if you clear your cash, you clear your transaction history, even the scammer get your phone, they shouldn't be able to do anything. Okay, so a lot of people are asking me about Forex. I think I've said again that Forex is super difficult to make money. Please be very careful. I won't say that it's confirmed scam because I don't know, but please be very careful. Muhammad Sharul says, please be careful with free voucher in Facebook. Please be careful with anything free nowadays because why would people give you free stuff? Unless they want to make more money from you, but otherwise they could be out to scam you. Okay. Farhana says, if you wanted to purchase from online such as Lazada or Shopee, if seller requests you complete payment using personal account, this is also red flag. So, okay, I'm not 100% sure about this because I know some sellers on Lazada also, they are only individuals. So, yeah, I know sometimes people pay to personal accounts, but please be very careful. Thanks for the comment. And I think I'll go into the last few comments before we end the session for today. Mabok Chun, great name there. Ask any official website we can refer which is scam and which is genuine. Great question. If you go to Securities Commission website, you go to Bank Negara website, you can see which is the so-called blacklist of investment or business or MLM. There's actually a blacklist. You can go to the website. Please check it out. Okay, I think we are at the end of it. Alfred De Cruz asks, what about cryptocurrency investments? My suggestion, if you want to learn about cryptocurrency, make sure the company that you're using is approved by the Securities Commission of Malaysia. If you don't know it's approved or not, go to Securities Commission website and see whether they are registered and approved. Okay. Yeah, I think I will. Okay. Yo says the courier guy will always ask for IC number upon collection of parcel. I think that is no way around that. So unfortunately, it's quite common practice. Yeah, you can. I guess it's okay. And lastly, I think I will close with a comment from Pok Yo. It's a great thing for everyone to remember. If something that is too good to be true, please be careful. Something that is too good to be true, the saying goes, is likely not true, it's likely to be a scam. So with that, I want to thank everyone. Terima kasih everyone for coming today. I would like to thank AKPK, the National Debt Management Agency, for organizing this session. I would like to thank FEN for being a great support in this kind of initiatives. I'm sorry if I didn't manage to answer your question. Come back to this video. I will make sure to go through all the questions and answer them one by one. So if I didn't answer your question, sorry, please come back and check. With that, I just want to say thank you again for joining. Wish you a blessed Ramadan month ahead if you are fasting and celebrating. Please take care, stay safe, and I guess I'll see you guys soon. Bye.